Emerging viruses, high-security labs, and global markets. Today we explore the multi-dimensional story behind a recent scientific notice from the Wuhan Institute of Virology about a bat coronavirus called HKU5 CoV2. In this video, we'll dive into the scientific research, the implications for global public health, and even how political and financial forces might use this news to their advantage. The scientific discovery. Let's start with the science. HKU5 CoV2 is a newly identified bat coronavirus discovered by surveillance teams that include researchers from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, WIV, and other Chinese institutions. While it shares some characteristics with SARS-CoV-2, the virus behind COVID-19, it binds to the human ACE2 receptor with much lower affinity. What does that mean? Simply put, although the virus can infect cells in laboratory models, it is currently not poised for efficient human-to-human transmission. Researchers employed state-of-the-art techniques such as cryo-electron microscopy to analyze the structure of HKU5 CoV2's spike protein. They found that its receptor binding domain, RBD, has significant overlap with those of known human-infecting coronaviruses, but with one crucial difference: its binding efficiency is much lower. Furthermore, extensive field surveillance in bat populations shows that HKU5 CoV2 is part of the natural diversity of coronaviruses. It was not engineered or leaked from a laboratory, it is a product of natural viral evolution. The work of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The Wuhan Institute of Virology has become a household name over the past 2 decades. Its research spans not only coronaviruses but also other emerging viruses, aiming to understand their evolution, interspecies transmission, and zoonotic potential. Wuhan Institute of Virology has been at the forefront of studies on SARS-CoV, SARS-CoV-2, and other bat-derived coronaviruses such as HKU2, HKU4, and HKU5. Their research uses an array of techniques, from genomic sequencing and phylogenetic analysis to advanced structural studies using cryo-EM, to build a comprehensive picture of viral diversity. Importantly, the work of Wuhan Institute of Virology in cataloging these viruses is crucial for pandemic preparedness. By understanding how these viruses interact with host cells, what mutations might allow them to jump species, scientists can develop vaccines and therapies in advance. Broader implications across society. Although HKU5 CoV2 is not yet an imminent threat to human health, its announcement resonates across multiple sectors. Let's break down the broader implications. Public health and research impact. In public health, this discovery underscores the need for robust global surveillance systems. Governments and organizations like the WHO may increase funding for biosurveillance and universal vaccine research, efforts to create pan-coronavirus vaccines that could one day protect against viruses like HKU5 CoV2. Political and geopolitical ramifications. Politically, the announcement is already being used by critics of Chinese research practices. Some political actors call for greater transparency and tighter international regulations on high-risk research. In some quarters, the news is fueling debates about national security and scientific sovereignty, especially given the controversies surrounding the origins of COVID-19. Financial and market effects. On the financial front, markets are highly sensitive to emerging virus news. Biotechnology companies, especially those working on next-generation vaccines, might see increased investor interest. Stock market analysts are re-evaluating the risk profiles of companies with significant exposure to infectious diseases, while insurance and risk management sectors adjust their models to account for pandemic risk. Media and cultural impact. Media outlets, from reputable news sources to more sensationalist platforms, are using the discovery to shape public discourse. Conspiracy theorists and fringe groups might amplify the story, while mainstream media emphasize the importance of preparedness and scientific transparency. This complex mix of narratives affects public opinion and can influence policy decisions globally. Who benefits from this news? Who stands to gain politically, financially, or socially from the announcement of HKU5 CoV? Let's look at the key players. Political actors and national security advocates. Political opponents of current scientific practices may use the news to push for stricter biosecurity protocols and increased oversight of high-containment labs. National security advocates can call for more investment in pandemic preparedness, arguing that transparent international research is essential to prevent future crises. Financial stakeholders. Investors in biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies, especially those with platforms that can pivot quickly to address emerging threats, may see this as an opportunity. Firms like Moderna, Pfizer-BioNTech, Novavax, Inovio, and even smaller biotech firms working on universal vaccine platforms could benefit from heightened interest and additional capital inflows. Scientific and research communities. Research institutions and funding agencies can leverage the announcement to secure additional grants for surveillance and vaccine research. By highlighting the natural emergence of viruses like HKU5 CoV, scientists argue for continued and expanded research funding. Media and misinformation channels. Unfortunately, some groups, including conspiracy theorists and certain state-backed media channels, may twist the news to sow distrust in scientific institutions. While this can undermine public trust, it also highlights the critical need for effective science communication. The role of companies like Moderna. Although HKU5 CoV itself is not currently targeted by any specific vaccine programs, companies like Moderna have built flexible mRNA platforms that could, in theory, be adapted rapidly if the virus ever posed a real threat. Moderna and other biotech firms are investing in pan-coronavirus vaccine research. Such technologies aim to provide cross-protection against a range of coronaviruses, reducing the risk of future pandemics. This strategic positioning means that while HKU5 CoV may not drive immediate vaccine development, the research underscores the need for broad-spectrum immunization strategies. Investors and policymakers are watching these companies closely, aware that their platforms are key to future pandemic readiness. In summary, the announcement from the Wuhan Institute of Virology regarding HKU5 CoV is much more than a scientific update. It's a catalyst that touches upon public health, geopolitics, finance, and even cultural debates. From improved global surveillance to accelerated investment in universal vaccine platforms, this news is being used by multiple stakeholders, from political leaders and financial analysts to the scientific community, to shape our approach to future pandemics. Understanding these interconnections is vital. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think this news will shape our future? Let us know. Thanks for watching our deep dive analysis on HKU5 CoV and its far-reaching implications. Stay informed and see you in the next video.